Welcome to MSB lecture series on main group chemistry. So, this is 39th lecture in the series. In this lecture, I will be discussing the chemistry of group 15 elements. As you all know, group 15 elements are essentially called as pnictogens. Okay. So, we have in group 15 the first element is nitrogen, next phosphorus, arsenic, antimony and bismuth. They have the electronic configuration of NS2 NP3, that is they have 5 electrons in their valence shell. So, as a result group 15 elements show oxidation states of +3 and +5, and of course +3 and +5 occur for all elements, whereas heavier elements especially bismuth shows +3 as the most stable state due to inert pair effect, and +5 state is quite stable for phosphorus, but acts as an oxidizing agent with nitrogen, arsenic and antimony. And let us look into the discoverers of group 15 elements. Of course, nitrogen was identified by Daniel Rutherford in 1772, and phosphorus was discovered in a very disgusting manner by Henning Brand in 1669. Albert Magnus is responsible for the discovery of arsenic in 1250, and Vernocchio Bringucci is responsible for discovering antimony in 1540, and Geoffroy Étienne-Francois discovered bismuth in 1743. I have shown their pictures here along with how these elements look like in the elemental form, and of course here nitrogen is a gas, and when it is liquefied this is how it looks like, it is evaporating, and this is white phosphorus, and this is arsenic, and this is antimony, and this is bismuth. And there is very interesting story about the discovery of phosphorus. In fact, Henning Brand, an alchemist, had an inclination to make elixir to convert any base metal into gold and also to live longer. So, in that effort what he did was he collected about 1100 liters of urine and he started distilling it. After distilling for several days, he ended up with some waxy substance that was growing in during dark, okay, waxy substance that okay. So, since it was showing luminescence, the phosphorescence, the name has originated because of its property, and of course, I can keep on talking about fascinating stories of phosphorus and its discovery. It is the 13th element to be discovered, and since 13 is a bad number, and also due to the association of phosphorus in all toxic substances, it was called as devil's element. And of course, I will discuss little bit more later at some point of time before I conclude the chemistry of group 15 elements. Let me move on to looking into the other aspects. Okay. Naturally occurring nitrogen makes up for about 78% by volume of the Earth's atmosphere and contain very small percentage of 15N, that is 0.36 percentage. Okay, and liquid nitrogen is a very convenient way of storing and handling nitrogen in the laboratory. Of course, we can also store it in cylinders. The only natural source of nitrogen suitably fixed for uptake by plants is crude sodium nitrate. Phosphorus, as I mentioned, was isolated by Henning Brand in 1669 from urine. And phosphorus is an essential constituent of plant and animal tissue, and calcium phosphate occurs in bones and teeth and as a phosphate ester in nucleotides of DNA. And phosphorus occurs naturally in the form of apatites, calcium fluoroapatite, an important mineral. For example, the formula of that one is Ca5 X PO4 3. This is the fluoroapatite. So, arsenic occurs in elemental form. Commercial sources of arsenic are essentially mispickel and Rellager. Okay, this is also called arsenopyrite. Because it has iron. Okay, so this is the composition of this mineral arsenopyrite, also called as mispickel, and another is Rellager. So, these two are the important minerals of arsenic. Native antimony is rare and the only commercial ore is stibnite. Stibnite has the composition, this is for arsenic, and for antimony the ore is stibnite. The composition of this one is essentially sulfur ore Sb2 S3. Bismuth occurs as the element and the ore bismuthite Bi2S3. And also bismite Bi2O3 is called bismite, and this one is bismuthionite. Okay, so these two are the ores of bismuth, and you can just see the relative abundances of group 15 elements in the Earth's crust. Of course, phosphorus is considerably larger compared to rest of the elements. So, let us look into the extraction of group 15 elements. One can obtain pure nitrogen in industrial scale by fractional distillation of liquid air. Often the product contains small quantity of argon and oxygen. Small amounts of nitrogen can be prepared by thermal decomposition of sodium azide or ammonium nitrate For example, simply if you heat sodium azide, it gives nitrogen. You remember I had mentioned about this one. This is used in car airbags, and similarly ammonium nitrate can also be on heating gives nitrogen. Ammonium nitrate also solid on heating to 570 Kelvin, it gives nitrogen. Okay. So, elemental phosphorus is extracted from calcium phosphate, that is called phosphate rock. So, essentially Ca3PO4 twice when it is heated with sand and coke in an electric furnace gives white phosphorus. For example, I will write that reaction here. So, this is essentially this is the general method of preparation of white phosphorus in large scale. Phosphorus vaporizes and is condensed to the solid, which is stored under water to protect it from reaction with air, because it readily reacts with air to form phosphorus pentoxide. Most phosphorus produced in this way is burned to form P4O10, that is phosphorus pentoxide, which is then hydrated to yield pure phosphoric acid. That means P4O10 is highly hygroscopic and it readily reacts with water to form phosphoric acid. The principal source of arsenic is, as I said, arsenic from mispickel. It is a sulphide ore. On heating this ore to 700 degrees centigrade in absence of air, it forms iron sulphide plus arsenic. Arsenic comes out. Okay. Okay, so that means heating this mispickel to 700 degrees centigrade in absence of air leads to the formation of FeS plus arsenic, elemental arsenic is formed. Okay. So, antimony can be extracted from stibnite by treating with iron, for example, Sb to S3. Okay. So, the extraction of bismuth from its sulphide or oxide ore involves the reduction with carbon. One can also use carbon as a reducing agent, but the metal is also obtained as a byproduct of lead, copper, tin, silver and gold refining processes, because it also present in the trace amounts along with lead, copper, tin, silver and gold. Okay. You can see some of the physical properties of the group 15 elements in this table. Of course, whatever the properties we come across, it is quite agreement with the periodic trends we have observed for group 14 elements, and that is true with respect to group 16 elements also. Not much changes are there, except for the fact that nitrogen is slightly different from phosphorus, arsenic, antimony and bismuth, and antimony and bismuth show little more different chemical properties compared to first three elements because of the dominance of inert pair effect. And of course, when we look into the first, second and third ionization energy, that is decreasing down the group, that is expected. Ionization energy increase rather sharply after removal of the p electrons. Okay. And of course, after removal of the p electron, and effective nuclear charge increases and s electrons are held more firmly by the nucleus, making it difficult to remove fourth and fifth, and hence increasing the ionization enthalpy for fourth and fifth electron. That means, fourth ionization enthalpy and fifth ionization enthalpy increases rapidly. Okay. It decreases only slightly between phosphorus and arsenic. Similar behavior is observed in case of aluminum and gallium, and also between silicon and germanium. For removal of the s electron, there is an increase between antimony and bismuth, okay, just as between indium and thallium and between tin and lead. Arsenic with completely filled 3D inner shell, which is relatively poor shielding, is rather more difficult to oxidize to the +5 state due to added inert pair effect. So, here in case if we generate compounds in +5 state, they are very powerful oxidizing agents. -3 state occurs in the hydrides such as NH3 and in anions such as phosphide, especially sodium phosphide. In sodium phosphide, phosphorus is in -3 state and in case of NH3, nitrogen is in -3 oxidation state. Okay. Dinitrogen is generally unreactive. It combines slowly with lithium at ambient temperature to form lithium nitrate. The reaction between calcium carbide and nitrogen is used industrially for manufacturing nitrogenous fertilizer calcium cyanamide, and at ambient temperature nitrogen is reduced to hydrazine, that is N2H4, by vanadium 2 and magnesium hydroxides. A large number of d block metal complexes containing coordinated N2 are known, and of course, coordinated N2 can also be activated and NN bond can be cleaved. N2 is essentially isoelectronic with carbon monoxide, and the bonding in complexes containing the N2 ligand can be described in a similar manner to that in metal carbonyl complexes. But however, nitrogen complexes are unstable compared to carbonyl complexes. Okay. Because N2 dinitrogen is a very stable molecule both thermodynamically and kinetically. Other species comprised of nitrogen atoms are rare, that is N5 plus was isolated in 1999. Was actually isolated in 1999. Okay. Those who discovered this one in 1999 are of the opinion that high energy ionic allotropes of nitrogen having this composition Ni5, N3 minus and Ni5 plus can also be isolated. So, another nitrogen compound is essentially N8 having a cubane like structure. Of course, these are all highly reactive and compounds, they have now been isolated, hypothetical molecules. You can see here N2 is quite stable, and this one is pentazenium ion N5 plus was discovered in 1999, and also they are of the opinion that this compound can also be isolated having N5 plus and N3 minus, and of course, another one is N8 octazocubane, and this one is similar to benzene, hexazobenzene, and these compounds, if they made, in case if they are made, they are going to be highly reactive, and so far these compounds have not been isolated. Okay. Let us ask ourselves a question, why N is dimeric and P is tetrameric. In fact, we come across such anomaly among P block elements. Oxygen is dimeric, nitrogen is dimeric, phosphorus is tetrameric, and all halogens are dimeric. Okay. So, here we should look into single, double and triple bond strengths for these compounds. For example, in case of nitrogen and phosphorus, let us look into the single bond, double bond and triple bond strengths for NN and PP bonds. And if we just look into these things and do simple analysis, we can understand why P2 is unstable whereas P4 is stable, and similarly why N2 is stable and N4 is not unstable. So, N and triple bond energy. So, before that I will give you some bond parameters. Okay, you can see here I have listed here bond energies for NN single bond, NN double bond, NN triple bond, as well as phosphorus single bond, double bond and triple bond. And in this one you can see NN single bond energy is 160 kilojoules per mole, and whereas PP bond is quite stable compared to NN, that is about 200 kilojoules per mole. Then when you go to NN double bond, it is 490, it is more than twice the value for 2 NN single bonds. It should have been 320, but it is 419, whereas in case of phosphorus for PP double bond it is about 310 kilojoules per mole, it should have been at least 400 kilojoules per mole. Okay. If we just sum up the values for 2 PP single bonds, that is 200 plus 200, but instead it is 310, that means a phosphorus, by making a double bond, it loses an amount of energy equivalent to 90 kilojoules per mole. And then let us look into NN triple bond. Energy is 945 kilojoules per mole, and at least it should have been about 480 kilojoules per mole if we just sum up 3 NN single bonds, like one NN bond energy is 160 kilojoules per mole. So, that means instead of having 480, we have almost double the value of 945 kilojoules per mole, whereas in case of phosphorus it should have been at least 600 kilojoules per mole to have a PP triple bond, whereas here what we have is about 490 kilojoules per mole. That means phosphorus, by making 3 single bonds, it would have a total energy of 600 kilojoules per mole. On the other hand, if it forms a PP triple bond to exist as a dimeric species, it will have only about 490 kilojoules per mole. So, from this point of view, what happens? Phosphorus has less inclination to form a PP double bond, PP triple bond, that is highly unstable. As a result, it exists in the form of a white phosphorus having each phosphorus single PP bonds. And whereas in case of N, it is quite opposite. By forming NN triple bond, it gains much more than what it would have been if nitrogens are connected by 3 single bonds. Okay, so that would have amounted to only about 480 kilojoules per mole. So, this analysis explains why NN triple bond is stable and nitrogen occurs as a dimeric species. In the same way, we can also do analysis in case of oxygen and sulfur. Let us look into these kind of aspects and also problems when we move on to the chemistry of group 16 elements. So, phosphorus exhibits complicated allotropy. There are 11 forms of phosphorus allotropes have been known, out of which at least 5 are crystalline, and crystalline white phosphorus contains tetrahedral P4 moieties, in which PP distance is 221 picometer. That means essentially white phosphorus has, I will be showing you this in the next slide. So, this is how it exists, and this PP distance is 221 picometer, okay, which is consistent with single bond covalent radius of about 110 picometer. White phosphorus is defined as the standard state of the element, but is actually metastable. For example, P block is obtained from white phosphorus, and then it can also go to the red. So, here if we just look into the value, here it is about minus 17.6 kilojoules per mole, whereas here it is minus 39.3 kilojoules per mole. So, this clearly indicates that white phosphorus is essentially as the standard state of the element, but is actually a metastable state. On melting, all allotropes give a liquid containing P4 molecule, and these are also present in the vapor. Above 1070 Kelvin or at higher pressure, P4 is in equilibrium with P2, but so far P2 is not isolated. As I had mentioned, phosphorus is the 13th element to be discovered. Due to this reason and also its use in explosives, poisons and nerve agents, it was called as devil's element by German alchemist Henning Brand, who discovered it in 1669, and Robert Boyle was the first to use phosphorus to ignite sulfur tipped wooden splints, and that actually we use it as matches, and this was shown by Robert Boyle in 1680. The principal source of phosphorus is phosphate rock, a complex calcium phosphate I had mentioned, and of course, if we heat it for a prolonged duration, white phosphorus in a sealed vessel, that leads to the formation of red phosphorus, and red phosphorus is essentially a relatively inert form of phosphorus with a very poorly defined but complex structure. However, the most stable allotrope is black phosphorus formed by heating phosphorus at high pressure, which has several structures, out of which rhombohedral structure is quite known. And so one can see this is how the white phosphorus structure looks like. It is tetrahedral. And then basically what happens, if you break one of the pp bond of white phosphorus and connect with an adjacent one, that leads to the red phosphorus. You can see here, and it has a one-dimensional structure due to the breakage of one of the pp bond and formation of a link with the neighboring white phosphorus. So, this is red phosphorus, and then this is the black phosphorus. Here we have this kind of cyclohexyl type structure for phosphorus, and of course P2, the pp distance is 189.5 picometer, and just let us look into the bond dissociation energy of P triple bond P. This is only 117 kilojoules per mole. If you try to compare this one with nitrogen, nitrogen has a bond dissociation energy of 490 kilojoules per mole. That indicates why N2 is stable, whereas P2 not. And of course, heating white phosphorus at 1100 Kelvin leads to the formation of transient species P2. And of course, red phosphorus on sublimation, it gives white phosphorus back. Above 323 Kelvin, white phosphorus inflames, yielding phosphorus 5 oxide. So, this is P4O10. So, concentrated nitric acid oxidizes P4 to phosphoric acid, and with hot aqueous sodium hydroxide one can form PH3 phosphine from white phosphorus. For example, white phosphorus on treatment with concentrated nitric acid, similarly, P4 on treatment with sodium hydroxide gives phosphine. Similar to nitrogen, P4 can also act as a ligand in D block metal complexes. You can see here some of the complexes of white phosphorus I have shown here. With rhodium here 2 phosphorus are coordinated, whereas in this case with silver 2 phosphorus of white phosphorus are coordinated here. And of course, here all the bonds are intact, still white phosphorus retains all the 3 bonds to each other and retains its tetrahedral geometry, but the lone pairs on 2 phosphorus atoms are involved in coordination, whereas in this case here one of the lone pairs of phosphorus is coordinated to nickel. The p atoms may be arranged in rings, chains or cages having composition something like this. For example, P7 3 minus or P8 2 minus and also P11 3 minus. So, I will be discussing more chemistry of group 15 elements in my next class. So, until then, have a pleasant reading of the chemistry of group 15 elements. Thank you very much.